Hello everyone, I'm Batpan, a bat who loves the sea. Today we're diving into something warm and cozy, how to make campfire in Unity. We'll grab some wood, place it down, and then light it up. This idea actually came from our dear friend with this ID. Hope all the very best for you wherever you are. This video is part of my Unity tips and tricks series designed to help you on your game dev journey. This function was actually used in my own game called Fractured Psyche as well. If you're into retro horror games, you can actually check it out with a link in the description. And as always, all the files from this video are on my GitHub, also linked below. Alright, with all that being said, let's put on the mask and begin. So in our scene we have a campfire with our woods, and we also have a fire which we can activate on top of it, and we also have some woods which we activate and deactivate, so it looks like we're replacing it and taking it. So I'm going to rename these woods to wood 1, 2 and 3. We have 3 woods that we can pick up, so I'm going to select this one, rename to wood 1, wood 2 and wood 3. So we take these 3 and we put them here. By default these 3 are deactivated, so we take one of these and we activate it there, and after activation we can make fire. So right now we activated everything that we needed, we set up everything we needed, a place with 3 woods and an empty place that we can place the woods. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna create a script to make the functions for it. So I'm just gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it scripts. You guys can actually download these scripts and the files I use in this video with a link in the description. So I'm gonna go to my scripts. I'm gonna create a new C# script. I'm gonna call it Campfire system. But before creating a script, I'm gonna make this function a little bit more beautiful. So we're gonna create a text saying if we take a wood and our hand is full, it says I can no longer take wood. And if we don't have anything in our hand and we interact with this, it says we cannot interact with this because we don't have any wood to place. And before creating the text, we're gonna give each of them colliders, anything we want to interact with. So I'm gonna select my campfire. I'm gonna go to add component. I'm gonna add a box collider. And this is my box collider. It is a little bit weird, so if your object is rotated this way, you don't have to give this one a collider. You can just right click on the object and create a 3D cube to 0, 0, 0, and you can scale the cube so it covers the whole campfire, and just deactivate the mesh renderer so we can interact with it. Now make it the child of the bonfire, the campfire, and I'm gonna name it Campfire Collider. And we have to interact with this to place the wood. So we're gonna go to this tag section and we're gonna give it a tag. So when we wanna interact with it, we know what we're interacting with. So I'm just gonna add a tag and I'm gonna call it Campfire. Be careful, the capital and the small versions of the letter matter. Instead of giving each of these different tags, you can just give this cube a tag. So we're just gonna give this one a tag of wood. And again, be careful. So now we go inside our script. We don't need void start. So before going to the script, let's create that UI I said earlier. So I'm going to create a UI canvas. I'm going to go to this settings section, make it scale with screen size. I'm going to give it my screen resolution 1920 by 1080. I'm going to put this one at 0.5. And I'm going to go to this 2D view and I'm going to add a UI, legacy text or text mesh pro, anything you want to use. But I'm going to use text mesh pro. Now with this one selected, anchor to the lower side of the screen. So click on this anchor section, hold Alt and press this one. So it is now anchored to the lower side of the screen. And when you scale the screen, it is always anchored to the lower side of the screen. So I'm going to put it a little bit up. I'm going to make it bigger and I'm going to make it like 36 is okay. Make it bold. I'm going to say I can't take the woods. Don't worry about the settings. I'm going to give it a panel as well. So UI panel. I'm going to make this one also child of the lower side of the screen. I'm going to make it smaller like this. This is my panel. I'm gonna put the text under the panel so it is actually showing on top of the panel. I'm gonna make my panel like this. It says I can take woods. We have a panel, we have a text. By default our panel is deactivated, our text is activated because nothing is written on it. When we write on it, we just clear what we wrote on it. Now everything is set up, we can go ahead inside our script. We need a reference to these 3 woods that we can take. You see these 3, so I'm just gonna go to my script. I'm gonna say public game object. I'm gonna make it an array and I'm gonna call it woods, 3 woods that we can take. What is an array? Instead of saying public game object wood 1, 2 and 3, I just said an array of game objects and I'm gonna call it 3 woods. And when I want to call it, I just go ahead and say 3 woods, house number 0. An array is, a way to put multiple objects of the same type inside one singular object. 3 woods, and I actually need another reference to place the woods. I also need a reference to the text we created. So public, before creating the text, since I'm using Text Mesh Pro, I'm just gonna say using TM Pro, Mesh Pro UGUI, which is actually the text I used. I'm just gonna call it subtext. And I also need a reference to my panel so I can activate and deactivate it. So I'm just gonna say public game object talk panel, which is deactivated by default. Then I need a boolean to check if I can interact or not for the interaction system. So private boolean can interact, which is equal to true by default because we can interact at the start of the game. Then I need a boolean to check if we have a wood in our hand or if we don't. So if we say have wood, which is equal to false by default because at the start of the game we don't have any wood in our hand. Right now in void update, I'm going to create a very simple interaction system that I covered a lot in lots of my videos. So I'm just going to say if we can interact, we go ahead and interact. So say if can interact is equal to true, we go ahead and interact. And to create the interaction system, I'm going to create an array. Array is an invisible thing that will be shot in the direction we're looking at, and if that array actually hits something, it's going to return a value, and that value is, the object we've looked at. You're going to see in the following minutes. I'm going to explain it, no worries. I'm going to call it array, which is equal to new array from transform.position to transform.forward. So from the position of our camera to forward. And we're just going to create array cast hit, and I'm going to call it hit. This hit is actually the object that was, actually hit by the array that was shot, and that is it. Then we're going to go ahead and say if physics.raycast, you see it says if the array we shot actually hits something in a distance of 10, for example. If the object was hit and it was in a distance of 10, we can go ahead inside and check for things. So we say if the thing we hit had a tag of compare tag of woods. So if the thing we looked at has a tag of woods, we can go ahead and check if we press the left mouse. So if we press the left mouse, we can go ahead and take the wood. So we say if input.get mouse button down, get mouse button down 0. So mouse 0 is the left mouse. So if we've pressed the left mouse and we're looking at the woods, we can go ahead and take it. But before taking it, we should check if we have wood in our hand or not. So if we have wood in our hand, we cannot take another wood. So we say if have wood is equal to true. We say can't take. Say else if have wood is equal to false. If it is false, if we don't have wood, we can say take wood. And that was for the tag of wood. So what if we actually didn't hit, woods and we hit something else? We say else if the thing we hit had a tag of campfire. So if we looked at something with a tag of campfire, we can go ahead and check if we actually have wood. If we have wood, we can go ahead and place it. And if we don't, we can't place it. So we say if have wood equal to true, we go ahead and say place wood. Else if have wood false, I don't have wood. And that's a very simple thing to do. So right now we can go ahead and create the function, but before creating the function, let's create the talking system that we said we don't have wood, and I don't have any wood in my hand, and I cannot take any woods because I have already a wood in my hand. The talking system, let's create the talking system first. Let's create an enumerator because I want to write text and then disappear it after 2 seconds or 1 second. For that I need to put it inside enumerator. Enumerator actually allows me to wait for some time and do a function. So I'm just going to call it can't take wood, CO. You can name it whatever you want. It's going to return, it's going to give an error. No worries, we'll fix it in the following minutes. So down here, when we can't take wood, we're just going to say can interact equal to false because we can no longer interact until the text is gone. We say the talk panel that's set active, true. We activate the talk panel so we can talk. Then we say subtext.text equal to I can't take wood, and it's gonna write on the subtext, the text mesh pro we created, I can't take wood, and we wait for 1.5 seconds, and then we reset everything. So we can just copy this and paste it here, make this one false, and also make this one empty because nothing should be written there, and we say can interact equal to true, so we can interact again. Now that we created something for the can't take wood, we're gonna kind of create a similar thing for this. My hand is full, just gonna say enumerator hand is full, CO, which stands for core routine again. So we say again can interact is equal to false because we cannot interact. Then we say talk panel that's set active true, and then subtext.text we can write on it. What we can write is my hand is full. And again, we wait for 1.5 seconds and we reset everything. So we can just copy the thing set from the above function and we just reset everything. And to call these two functions, we're going to go inside our void update, the things we created. We say can't take wood. So we say start coroutine, call an enumerator, and I'm going to call it can't take wood CO. And that's how you call an enumerator. And for the campfire, which actually says I don't have wood, we go ahead and say start coroutine, can't take wood, hand is full CO, which stands for coroutine. And that is it. For the functions of them saying I don't have wood, we can go ahead and check this part out. Then we'll return and create the following function. So before checking it out, we gotta give our script to our camera. So I'm gonna select my camera. I'm gonna give the script to my camera. It needs a text mesh pro. This is the TMP, and we need a talk panel. This is the talk panel. It needs free woods and placed woods, which we're gonna give in the following minutes. We don't need them right now. As I said, the capital and the small versions of the letter matter, so we just created a tag of wood. It wasn't woods. One thing we didn't do, we didn't give these stuff tags. So we gotta select our campfire and give it a tag of campfire and select our cube and give it a tag of wood. So in our script, we didn't check if we press the left mouse key or not. So we say if input.get mouse button down 0. If we press the left mouse key and we're looking at the campfire, we can go ahead and interact. Let's go ahead and check it out. So we don't have any wood. When we left click on here, it says my hand is full and we cannot place it here. And we cannot take the object because we didn't create a function for it. We have 3 woods, and when we take each of them, they're gonna go in our inventory and they're gonna be placed here. When we take a wood and we place it here, I'm gonna make a counter and an integer to count how many woods have we placed down so we can make fire afterwards. We're gonna say private integer, I'm gonna call it placed wood count, which is equal to 0 by default because we didn't put any woods. Let's create a function for placing the wood and taking the wood and placing the woods. We don't have to do it inside an enumerator because we take the objects instantly. So I'm just going to create a void take wood, and inside it I'm just going to say if our placed wood count is 1, we take this one. If it is 2, we take another one, and if it is 3, for example, we take another one. But before that, we also going to count the taken wood. So we're just going to say private integer taken wood, which is equal to 0. If we want to take the woods, we're just gonna say if taken wood is 0, it means we didn't take any woods. We go ahead and take the first wood. So we're just gonna say free woods house number 0 dot set active false. Then we say else if taken wood is 1, we go ahead and take the second wood. So house number 1 is second. Then we can just copy it and paste it again. If it was 2, we go ahead and take the free was 2. And when we take a wood, we're just gonna say taken wood equal to 1. If it was 0 and we take it, we make it equal to 1. So the next time we take wood, we would actually take the second wood. And we're just gonna copy this and do it for these two as well. So 1, 2, 3 for the take wood function. And we're gonna kind of do the same thing for the place wood. So we're just gonna say void place wood. Inside it, we're just gonna say if placed wood count is 0, we go ahead and say placed woods house number 0 dot set active true because we place it. Then we say else if it is 1, we go ahead and place the second placed woods, and we can just copy it and paste it here. If we taken it twice, we go ahead and place the third one, and we kind of got to do the same thing. Placed woods count 1. If it was 0, it is 1 now when we take it, and when we place the numbers gonna change. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and take the object. So if we can take wood, we're just gonna say take wood void, we call it. We can place wood, we're just gonna say place wood void, and we call it like this. Let's kind of reference to these two. As you see, it's gonna run this one and that one. We can go ahead and check this section out, then we come back and create another, the continue of the function for the fire thing. Right now we're gonna go to the script which was on our camera. It says we're gonna give this 3 free woods and stuff, so make it 3 and just drag and drop your free woods. So 2 and 3. Then create the 3 placed woods. So wood 1, wood 2, and wood 3. One thing that we didn't create is when we take the woods, we make it off and then we activate it. So we say have wood, then we say have wood. When we take the wood, so we say take wood, we go inside this take wood void. And before everything, we're just gonna say have wood equal to true. So we cannot, you know, take two woods at the same time. And when we place it, we're just gonna say have wood is equal to false. So we place the first wood, it says house number 1 and house number 2. It's not 2, 3. Be careful. If you do that, it's gonna throw an error. One more thing that we didn't, you know, make properly. When it says I don't have wood, we shouldn't say my hand is full. So we're just gonna cut this one and place it here, and cut this one and place it here. Instead of saying I can take wood, we're just gonna say I don't have any wood to place. We need a reference to fire, so we're just gonna say public game object actual fire that we can actually activate and deactivate, and we need a boolean, private boolean can start fire, which is equal to false by default because we cannot start fire. For the campfire, if we have wood and if we don't have wood, it is for when we cannot start fire. So if we can start fire is equal to false. If we cannot start fire, we go ahead and check these two, you know, conditions to check if we can place any woods or not. And if we actually can start fire, so we're just gonna say else if can start fire is equal to true, we go ahead and we start the fire. So for the fire getting started, we're just gonna say actual fire that's set active true, and we say can interact is equal to false. So we can no longer interact with anything in our scene, and our game, you know, gets over or, you know, goes to the next scene. It now needs an actual fire. I give it this fire particle system that I had. Let me just make these colliders a little bit bigger so we can, you know, interact with them a little easier. Right now it is actually harder to interact with them. You know, place the third wood. We're gonna say, you know, we can go ahead and start fire. So we go inside our script and see where we place the last wood. This is where we place the last wood. So we say in here, we say can start fire is equal to true. So right now our conditions are met. We can go ahead and check it out. So we go ahead, we take a wood, we place it. We can no longer place anything because we don't have any wood in our hand. We take it. It says my hand is full because I already have a wood in my hand. I place another. I take the last one and I place another one. And now I can go ahead and start the fire, as you see. So that was how to create a very simple campfire in Unity. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that this video was helpful to you, my dear friend. If you actually enjoyed this video, a like would be amazing. You can subscribe to see more contents like this. Thank you so much for all your support. You guys are amazing. Hope all the very best for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.